All right. So we are talking about um, some more specific techniques that are used in advertising. And so I'm going to go over some of these. I'm going to give you a quiz on these, Christina. I will help you out with that quiz as much as I can. I'll kind of tell you where to look in each video. So then you kind of get the idea for it. And then once you're done with that, I'll give you the final project for you. And then once you get that completed, you'll be done. So great. All right, so let's get started. All right, so this is section 3. I would take some notes while you're doing it, so you can just kind of pause it when I click the slide, take some notes, and then listen to me talk about it. Okay. So here would be a good place to pause it, so that way you get it. So the first one here is avant-garde, and what that just means is a big kind of fancy Latin term for that the product or the service that you are advertising or that you see being advertised puts the user ahead of the times. They are ahead of the curve. So it's innovative, it's brand new, it's got features that, have not been done before in that category, those kind of things. That's avant garde. So think about like cars, think about phones, technology, a lot of those kind of things are where you would see avant-garde. Next, we have weasel words, and what weasel words does is it sounds like it's guaranteeing something, but in reality, it's not doing that. Um, it uses words like virtually and might and stuff like that. For example, I used to do a commercial for this one where it would leave dishes virtually spotless. Well, it's not guaranteeing that it's going to be spotless, but it sounds like it is. And so when you actually break down like the words that it uses, then yeah, then it doesn't sound as great as it should. Okay? Here's your next slide. So I would pause it and take some notes and then we'll talk about it. So the first one here is patriotism. And this kind of suggests that if you support that company, if you buy that product, you show a love for your country. And patriotism doesn't necessarily have to be USA. It could be North Tama or Traer. Um, a lot of times for a yearbook, whenever we sell ads, we sell this idea of supporting your local school and supporting your local businesses and those kind of things. That is still patriotism. And for example, back in my hometown, there's a store and it's called the Iowa Girl, and they sell only locally made, locally owned goods. And so they want you to shop there because they don't want, they want you to support your community. They want you to support the people who live in your community, those kind of things. That's patriotism. Okay. Next one is transfer, and transfer is really tough to kind of explain. But basically, it places positive words, images, and ideas into your brain to make the product positive as well. And it can go the opposite way, it can go negative too. For example, in that Progresso soup commercial, um, the lady repeated the word sodium, sodium, sodium over and over and over again for the other product. And so now when you think of that product, you think of sodium and salt, which is bad. So they kind of transferred a negative word to that product, which was brilliant on their part. And then they use words like whole grain and all natural. Organic is kind of a word that is in this area of transfer. Like if you hear the word organic or green or all natural, those are words that make you think like, oh, this is great. Um, and also placing positive images. So whenever you think of a certain product, you think of like the spokespeople for it, or you think of like maybe like I don't know, cute kids for something kind of a thing. That's placing positive words with the images. When I think of that product, I think of those cute kids, or I think of that mascot, or I think of that spokesperson. That's transfer. All right. These two kind of go hand in hand, so we'll talk about them together. So take down some notes and then unpause it. All right. So plain folks is the product is practical, meaning that it can be used for ordinary people. And I think it's a good one to use because we're trying to attract, or most companies are probably trying to attract everyone. There's not usually a certain demographic or a certain maybe income of demographic, especially on TV, that you're trying to hit. And so as we'll see here, a couple of the videos, a maybe like a University of Phoenix one is a good one for this one because it just shows everyday people who are just trying to, raise their kids and go to work and all these kind of things and then go to school on the side. And so the University of Phoenix is showing like this is just for you. This is for the common person. We are practical. We are easy to help you get your degree. That's plain folk. Snob appeal is kind of the opposite of that. It suggests that if you shop there or buy their product, you're part of an elite group. You are special. You are different. You are better, kind of a thing. So any kind of like high end brand would probably fit this category. Any um, and that can work against the company, especially if it's trying to be a plain folk company. Apple, I think, kind of has this like snobby appeal to it. The Apple products do, and I think Samsung really kind of hit that home with some of their later ads, where it was all these kind of snobby, stuck up people, not rich per se, but kind of stuck up, snobby people buying their products. And so I think it can work against you there as well. All right, take notes on these. The bottom two kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, bribery is offering something extra. So a coupon, every infomercial that offers, you can buy one for the low price of $19.99, but wait, there's more. You can get a second one for the same price. That is bribery. That's offering something different when you buy a product, or something extra when you buy a product. So buy one get one freeze. That would constitute as that. Buy a car from a car company and then they'll throw in a laptop or a TV. That's bribery. They want you in there, kind of a thing. Bandwagon and individuality are two opposite things. Bandwagon is like, hey, everyone else is doing it, so you should too. Join the crowd. And there's some positives with that. The idea of safety in numbers and like, if everyone's doing it, it must be a good thing, kind of a thing. T-Mobile right now is doing a really good job of saying, like in the last year we had 1 million new people join our company. So why, from Verizon? So why shouldn't you? Verizon still says we're America's number one brand, kind of a thing. And so that's bandwagon as well. It's like, 30 million people can't be wrong when, they probably can. Individuality kind of goes with the opposite route of that. Basically, like everyone's doing this one thing or everyone's buying this one thing. Be yourself, be an individual, go the other route. So they want you to be different as individuality, and that's an emotion. A lot of us don't want to be part of the crowd. A lot of us want to stick out and stand out and be special. If that product kind of advertises that idea, the Dr. Pepper being one of a kind, if you drink Dr. Pepper, you're going to be one of a kind, even though it's the third major beverage drink in America. They're still selling that individuality. Okay? Humor and product comparison. Humor, a lot of times, it makes the audience laugh, but doesn't really provide a lot of information about the product or service. The Old Spice commercials, the Sonic, not Sonic, the Wix commercial with Brett Favre in them. Not a lot of information in the ad, but they were funny. And if you get the humor and if you agree with the humor, then it can work. And then product comparison. When you compare yourself to another product, to an inferior product, you can kind of say, hey, look, we're better than them and we last longer, or, all these kind of things. Laundry detergent does a really good job of this, where they, say this is Tide and this is the leading brand and leading detergent. And they do a side by side comparison, and there's no contest that Tide is better. That's product comparison, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a quiz through email as well. Um, I'll probably send you this first and then send you the quiz like the next day or a little bit later. But just take notes on that, okay? All right. Thanks, Christina.